Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video, I'd like to look at an example of someone who may have supported Brexit. We'll call them Brexit Billy, and how aspects of Brexit are now affecting their life. And this week, as it's very topical, we will consider that Brexit Billy is going on holiday. You know, the winning at life, which now means he may have a quota for holidays and have to learn how to tell whether or not food might poison him or not. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So I spend a fair amount of time going over individual aspects of Brexit, to what extent it's been caused by Brexit, to what extent it was caused by something just made worse by Brexit, what the impact is on the economy and so on. But I thought, well, let's take a look now with all of these issues on and focusing on the individual. You know, we have some Brexit impacts which have an effect on people's lives, but it's not always easy to see the link. You can see it with analysis, you can see it on a large scale, but not on an individual person's life. But some of the impacts are personal, so personal to the individual that it's worth having a look at that. So let's take a look at Brexit Billy's life, how it's changed as a result of Brexit. In this video, I want to look at going on holiday. As I say, very topical since the weekend, and also how not to poison yourself, which is also fairly important. More of a serious risk, really, since Brexit. So Brexit Billy fancies going away for Easter. Why not? I'm going away for Easter. In fact, at the time this video comes out, I've gone away for Easter. You know, he's nostalgic for supermarkets that actually have food in them. So unlike me, who's remained in the country, he decides on a foreign break. Off to France, he says. I've already discussed the issues with delays at Dover this week, but there might now be future consequences for poor old Brexit Billy. See, people are complaining about all the delays at the port. And some people weren't able to get through in time at all. They had to turn back. That is some continental visits cancelled because of this mess. The Brexiteers are complaining at the French, but the French are just doing what the Brexiteers wanted them to do, securing the borders. Well, why don't you put more staff on? Complained the Tory MPs. We'd love to, said the French. They probably said it in French. In fact, years ago, they said they'd be more than happy to do that. You know, you just build us the extra facilities. We will supply the extra staff. No problem at all. Sod that, said the Tories. If we start spending public money on the public, how are we going to make billionaires even richer? So we're not getting more people in to do the checks because we couldn't be asked. So what to do? We're going to keep getting these complaints every Easter and summer, aren't we? Every Easter and summer. So now the ferry operators have come up with a good idea. Well, all these delays, they're no good for them, you see. See, longer checks means waiting in dock longer. You know, they need their ferries moving, make money. They get paid to move the vehicles across the channel. So if they're stuck, they're making less money. And their business model is really based around freight and like business trips, not holidays. Holidays are a pain. I mean, a lorry has got probably one passport that needs checking. A car going to the continent for, say, a business trip, that might have one passport, might have two. Maybe there's a couple of colleagues, the carpooling, okay? Even this was a pain because of the extra time needed to deal with the passport checks. They used to just have to check you had a passport. But now there's actual checks need to take place. So, you know, that's fine, though. They put their prices up and that was that. And the businesses who had to pay those extra costs passed the cost on to consumers in Britain. So we pay higher prices for things, right? But these holiday makers are a bit of a pain. See, they're holding the ferries up for ages. And it's not like consistent through the year, otherwise you'd have to jack up the prices again. It's like, you know, Easter and summer and that's it. So what to do? Well, ferry companies are now wondering if we should just limit the number of coaches that are allowed to pass through the port. Like, if we insist on not having freedom of movement, but then complain when we're not free to move, right, why don't we just ration places for coaches? If the government won't act to ease the congestion, all the private sector can do is tell coaches to piss off somewhere else. Coaches are, after all, the major hassle. As I said earlier this week, one coach could well be a similar length to a lorry in the queue, but the lorry's got one passport to sort out. The coach has got over 50 in all probability. And if this goes ahead, do you know what this means? You know what it means? It means we've applied quotas to our own holidaying. Poor Brexit Billy might try to book a getaway, only to be told that Britain's already used up its quota for coach travel to the continent and will have to book a different weekend instead. Needless to say, coach operators aren't happy. Of course they're not. In fact, any number of people might not be happy. It's been pointed out that coach travel is greener, which is true. Absolutely true. Much greener than like all of those 50 odd people getting into their own individual cars or going by plane or something. But also putting quotas on the number of coach holidays we can take in Brexit Britain will mean reducing the number of school trips possible. Yet again, those too young to have voted for this, screwed over by their grandparents. I mean, some of them have snuffed it before the consequences hit anyway. So John Redwood, one of the Brexit ultras, he advises Brexit Billy to book a staycation instead. Loads of great holidays in Britain, he urges. Indeed, there are. Not if you're keen on a seaside resort, mind you. Because people are now being advised, if they go into the sea around Britain, make sure you keep your mouth closed. That's going to be quite hard for a Tory MP. But you've got to keep your mouth closed in the waters around Britain, you know, to avoid accidentally swallowing human waste. So Brexit Billy can have a nice little holiday in Britain. Just don't open your mouth near the sea or a lake or any rivers. In fact, best steer clear of water altogether. Never mind, go somewhere away from the water, you know, somewhere with nice restaurants. How about that? Might need to be a bit flexible. Hospitality sector struggling a little bit due to a lack of staff. Difficulty getting some foods and drinks as well. Or you could have a literal staycation. Just stay at home, why not? Set up a paddling pool in the garden, get some food in. Oh, make sure you don't poison yourself though. Because with our food supply chain under strain, we don't have as much fresh food as we used to. So to make it look like we've got enough fresh food in, you know, the old dates have been stretched a little bit, you see. We're essentially buying food with shorter life. The food is staying on the shelf longer, but that creates a bit of a risk, particularly if people buy something when it's sort of okay, but not okay for very much longer. Then they take it home, but then they don't get round to using it for like 5 or 6 days. Bit more of a risk that you're leaving it a bit too long before eating. You might buy it from the supermarket in the past, would have had a good week on it. Now it might only have a day. It's like, well, it's fine, but eat it today or tomorrow, will you? Not to worry, not to worry. The British media that persuaded Brexit Billy to vote leave are helping out with some useful guides. I was alerted to this delightful guide in the Daily Mail. Gives you some handy hints to check whether or not the food you just bought might poison you or not. Being able to tell whether or not the food in your weekly shop might actually make you sick wasn't really a skill that was needed before Brexit, but there we are. Actually, I saw a good meme the other day. They were like two young boys talking. One boy says to the other, do you say a prayer before eating your meal? And the other boy says, no, I live in the EU. We've got food standards. But Brexit Billy needs to say his prayers as well as check for the signs of spoilage in food that he only just bought. But if it turns out he got a free one-way trip to the morgue with his groceries, he can always turn to a series of guides that the BBC have helpfully provided. How to forage for your own food, like a hunter-gatherer. Never mind going back 50 years with Brexit, we're setting our sights on prehistory, it seems. So all things considered, what are Brexit Billy's options for a holiday? Well, he can try and visit the continent, but if he's going to drive there, he's going to get stuck at Dover. He could try and holiday in Britain, but might end up drinking raw sewage. He could try staying at home, but he might have to go for a walk and gather some edible roots and berries for his dinner. Still, I'm sure that's what Brexit Billy voted for, aren't you? But there we are. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. I hope you found the video interesting. If you did, please click the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel further, the join button for memberships. And until next time, I'll see you later.